Okay, so going live.
Express on
Got it.
1. Business Express. Brought to you by InterSwitch. Transaction solutions you can depend on.
Okay, we're going live.
Yeah, we're live.
Smooth 90.1, love music, love life. If you just joined us, you're just in time for Business Express 981. And it's a Friday today, so it's Tech Friday. Tech Fridays, by the way, are my favorite as far as Business Express is concerned, because we get to talk about everything, well, that's to happen in the future, but happening right now, okay? And you can be a part of our conversation. You can reach out to us upon our WhatsApp platform, 0809-444-0981, and also catch the live stream on YouTube. It's youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. Today, we're joined by Fisayo Drujai. He's an investment professional with Echo VC Partners. Good morning, Fisayo.
Good morning, Kayode. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everyone listening to us. Excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you here as well. This morning, we're talking about how, well, Twitter is adding Flutterwave and Paga to tips. And, well, Fisayo has walking us through that conversation this morning. So like I mentioned, if you're out there, and you want to be a part of our talk, please send your messages to 0809-444-0981. So Fisayo, let's just dive right into it, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
I mean, I'd like to know this, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are wondering at the same time, what is the impact of Twitter adding Bata by Flutterwave and Paga to its tips feature?
Okay, so Twitter has been having its own fair share of challenges over the last, couple of months. With some of the shareholders thinking that they're not innovating fast enough, they're not growing fast enough. The things they're meant to be doing, they're not doing that as fast as enough. So, and of course, some of the other shareholders believe that the former CEO, which is Jack
Dorsey,
because it's distracted. He's the CEO of two companies, $2 billion companies. I said if they think that Twitter is like a side hustle for him. Right. So the CEO of Square is also a CEO of Twitter. So they essentially said he should go, he should resign and be leaving.
How would they ever even think that, Twitter will be his side hustle when Twitter is Twitter,
Yeah, Twitter is Twitter, but Square is much bigger. And I think it has bigger stake in Square. Square is payment, is offline payment, POS. It's a huge business,
okay.
Right? But Twitter is a global social microblogging, they call it, but of course, social media platform, right? But of course, its revenue model is advertising, and I'm not sure many advertisers prefer Twitter as a advertising platform. So again, it has big user space, all of that kind of thing, but they don't have so much in earnings compared to other social media networks. Anyways, that said, the shareholders believe that yes, Jack is just using Twitter aside also. He's not focused on the business, so they forced him out. Well, he resigned to focus squarely on Square, right? And then Paga. That's the new CEO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. But where does
in,
Flutterwave and Paga come in as part of the tips feature now?
Yes, so as part of the innovation that they are doing, to be able to tip creators, say, some of the new things that they're doing is adding that creator feature where if you create content on Twitter, people on Twitter can be able to pay you or tip you for that content so that you can be excited and create more content, because that's what they're trying to get. Create more content. So with the integration of Bata and Paga to it means that Nigerians or creators from Nigeria can, number one, receive money from anywhere in the world. If they are mobile money users, they can receive money through Paga. If they have a bank account, they can receive money into their bank account through Bata. And of course, it means that Bata can help process payment from anywhere in the world, right? So using your debit card and all of that kind of thing. So that's the idea. And of course, it's interesting for both Paga and Flutterwave. But again, how much of that transaction will happen through the platform, I don't know, because I'm not sure. I've not tipped anybody on any social media platform before. I don't think I will. I don't know how many people that will. So again, is where those questions will arise. But it's a step in the right direction, I guess.
I think so too. I think it's a step in the right direction. Okay, let's talk about Flutterwave's $3 billion Naira valuation after it raised another $250 million. When I saw the news, I was so excited. I don't know why. I was just really excited for, But the fact that I heard that, their valuation is 3 billion naira, and they're raising
$3
another
billion, Kayode,
dollars, excuse
please.
me. Oh, come on. We live in Nigeria, so I keep on saying naira. Sorry. $3 billion. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you make of this?
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting for everyone involved. It's interesting for the founders, to the shareholders, existing shareholders of Flutterwave. It's interesting for everyone involved, right? So, and then, of course, it's probably the largest round by any African, startup, right? To achieve that, $250 million is probably more than what all the VCs in Africa, in Nigeria has in capital to invest. So it's essentially saying that yes, companies like Flutterwave are already pushing the edge of growth and international funding, right? So that's number one. And of course, number two is that, like I said, I'm not always excited with capital raise announcements, not because it's not great. I mean, this is great for the ecosystem, but much more than that is that I could literally feel the pressure if I'm the CEO to I have to deliver value to these new shareholders as well. They came in at a valuation of 3 billion. So it means that they're expecting me to get to 6 billion, to 10 billion, so that they can make some money off by their investment. If they invested at $3 billion, how would they make money unless my valuation doubles, or triples or quadruples? So how do I get Flutterwave to becoming that former $3 billion company to a $10 billion company so that I can deliver value to this new shareholder that just came in? And I think that's huge pressure. Moving from a $1 million company to a $10 million company is easier. Moving from a $3 billion company to $10 billion company, come on, it's a lot of work. And how many $10 billion companies are there in the whole world, right? So it means that for you to think that Flutterwave is $3 billion today, should be able to get 10 billion. It means I can imagine the kind of pressure that the CEO is facing and how to deliver that, right? So that's what I see here, right? And of course, it means that there might be some acquisition, which is also good for the ecosystem. So rather than Flutterwave try to build everything itself, it means that they have $250 million. They can buy out a few companies here and there and build out, a better, or acquire this growth through acquisitions. It could acquire companies in the Philippines so that it gets into the Southeast Asia payment space. It could acquire companies in Brazil so that it gets into the Latin America payment space. It could acquire companies in India to get into the and of course that will continue to help them grow as they move on. So yeah.
All right. Nice one. Let's talk about payment spaces now. So does this mean that payment space generally is the hottest sector in fintech? Because it feels as though it is, right? It feels like it is.
Yeah, of course it is. So like I always say, payment is the bedrock of any digital ecosystem. Unless payment is solved, there's no digital ecosystem. There's no digital economy, right? Okay. If you can't collect money digitally, then there's really no point of digital economy. If I'm providing the digital service and I have to collect cash, doesn't make sense, right? And of course, payment is still not solved in Nigeria. That has to be clear, right? Payment is still not solved. There are only 38 million, about 40 million unique bank accounts, and all of those unique bank accounts, maybe half or slightly more than half of them have cards. And of course, if payment is through bank account and cards, it means that people still are not able to. And of course, mobile money has not been penetrating yet, as much as it is, because people are not, because CBN is not allowing telcos to lead that. So again, there are a lot of issues around how this could look and how that is happening. But I guess investment in payment, continuous investment in payment will continually develop the entire ecosystem, because if payment is not solved, lending cannot happen, e-commerce cannot happen, every other thing cannot happen, essentially.
All right. We got a few messages. We're going to get to those messages, but if you want to be a part of our talk, please send your messages to 0809-444-0981. Now, I have a very important question to ask you. Now, we talked about how Flutterwave has a $3 billion valuation, right? So is it fair or accurate to compare Flutterwave's valuation to Nigerian banks? And Fisaya has that look on his face, but yeah, I mean, is it now?
I mean, it's not, because I think they have two different business models. Again, it's the way I think about it. I was speaking to someone yesterday. I was saying that yes, with that $3 billion, they are now worth more than Nestle. Nestle Nigeria. I said, yeah, it makes sense, right? There are a lot of concerns around tech valuation versus traditional banking valuations, right? There are a lot of people try to compare, but Flutterwave is the payment network, it's a payment system, right? And of course, it's a Pan-African payment system, right? So not just in Nigeria, but also Pan-African. And then, and I think that from their last indication, they're going into remittances, with their signing on of Whiskey and all of that, they're going into remittances. And of course, if I could draw parallels, right, Wave there's a company called Wave in Francophone West Africa.
Okay.
Is a remittance play. It's a unicorn. It's $1 billion business, right? But putting Wave, so it means that if Flutterwave is chasing that market of remittances, and Wave is a $1 billion company in that space, so it means that we could argue for something in that space. But of course, much more than just being a remittance play, it's also now a payment network that connects payments in Africa. There might be opportunities for Flutterwave in this, intra-Africa trade type thing, similar to PAPS, what PAPS is trying to do for international trade within Africa, right? Flutterwave already has network across most African countries. So you want to pay, from Nigeria to Kenya shillings, you pay that through Flutterwave and you don't have to use dollars at all. So there are a lot of, things that Flutterwave has built from an infrastructure perspective, right, to do that. So it's not fair to compare them. And of course, this is, I believe that the CEO or the founders of Flutterwave are not thinking about Nigerian exits. They're thinking about the US exit. So they are getting a US type valuation, as the case might be. So their investors are not Nigerians. They are US investors. So they view them from that perspective. A company doing this in US, how is it going to be valued? So that's the way it's thinks. So it's the perceived value from their investors that we're seeing compared to what the perceived value of Nigerian investors are compared to Nigerian banks. I guess that's the difference here.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Fisai. I got a few messages here. This one is from Ogene Ochuku. He says, Flutterwave's story is the consequence of innovation. Now the company is more valuable than any Nigerian bank. And when you limit your operation to just an agent of payments, giving loans to politicians and non-venture capitalists, you remain stagnant. All right. Thank you for pointing that one out, Ogene Ochuku. Yinka Bulu comes in with a funny one. He says, Twitter, side hustle for a whole human being. I was gingerly on my few queue when Fisai came to jab me in the eye, thanks to the side hustle talk, and Kaide couldn't call him to order. But then, Fisai, it's true actually. You did call Twitter a side hustle to Jack Dorsey.
It's a side hustle to him. It's a side hustle.
And he said it again.
Because Square is his main hustle. That's what I'm saying. Square is his main hustle. Twitter is side hustle. That's why they have to force him out of Twitter. Because it's not treating it as a real business. It just comes, works in at 10 o'clock, leaves at 11 o'clock to kind of face his real business. That's what he does. But that's what he did, right? When he was CEO, because he was managing the CEO of two major companies. And one has to be, you can't serve two masters. You can't be loyal to both. So you choose one ahead of that. And he chose Square ahead of Twitter. And that's what it is.
Well, of course, I would choose the one that makes more money too. So irrespective.
Exactly.
But you know what, Fisai, we're almost out of time. Real quick, though, we know that we're in an election year, so to say, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask this. Do you think that Nigeria needs a president that will focus on tech, in the coming years, in 2023? Do you think we need someone that's going to, divert his attention there? Because we see a lot that's happening with 3G, 4G, 5G, in the fintech space. A lot of things are going on.
Yeah.
So, do we need a president that would think in that regard?
I think we need a president that will not just, mess anything up. Just the job of the next president is just to do nothing. Just leave us alone.
Okay.
Right.
Do nothing and leave us alone.
Don't just focus on other things. Just leave us. Right. Because we'll continue to grow. In spite of the things that are put in the ways of tech for tech entrepreneurs today, police harassment, all of that kind of thing. We still continue to build. So just leave us, right? If possible, remove all these, external, disturbances, but don't try to be innovative. Just leave it alone. Let it go on its own. Don't put any regulation. Just do nothing. Focus on oil and gas, focus on rail transportation, just be doing all of that. Focus on power, but just leave tech alone. I think the tech ecosystem will continue to build itself as it has always been without government help anyway. So we'll continue to do that.
Thank you so much, Fisai. Fisai Drujai, investment professional with Echo VC Partners. It's a pleasure having you here. Always a pleasure talking to you on Tech Friday. And I look forward to having a conversation with you next week. Nice one. All right, Lagos, there's more to come in a few more minutes. You can also be a part of our other conversations. That's on Freshly Pressed 981.